You can't buy ugly houses just to have a house. That sounds so cheesy.
It does.
Like, I got you, baby. Plans he has for you is better than the plans you have for yourself. Message.
Hi guys, it has been a nice little minute, especially since being on YouTube. Like even when I will post on Instagram, it has been even longer than just of like YouTube. But we've had a lot going on that you guys would not even be able to imagine. And so I felt like, don't mind my children in the background, I felt like it wouldn't even do it justice just talking about this in stories. And so we had to make a YouTube video just because when I started this process, I've shared with you guys, when I've started my blog and everything, I wanted to share my life with you guys very authentically and show every process of our life that we can. And hopefully, my goal of sharing it was to hopefully give you guys like inspiration or just motivation or just know that, hey, I'm not in this alone. So with that, we started sharing our home build with you guys. I think we started sharing it like June of last year.
Yeah, somewhere right on there.
And after many delays, like with our builder in the front hand, we didn't actually break ground until like October. And so we had been, of course, very invested. You guys have been invested too. It's been great going on this journey with you guys. I've gotten a lot of advice from you guys. I've gotten feedback from you guys. So it's been good, like just showing you guys this process. Even before we broke ground, you guys can look on our YouTube video and we have videos even before we went with this builder of different homes we were looking at. So
just driving around, taking a look. Hey, what's out there?
Yeah, and we were showing you guys that too. So you guys have been really on this journey with us for the past year. So we were expected to be closing in March on our house, like this past month. And so then, dun, dun, dun. Oh, that's funny that we both did that. Coronavirus hit. So it hit us all very hard. I mean, you guys know that we're all in our houses right now. People are losing their lives. People are losing their loved ones. And so this has been very, very huge. And how people are losing their lives, but there's not as much, rightfully so, about everything that it's impacting on the
people
market.
Personally, you hear about how it's impacting like businesses because they have to let everybody stay home. But you really
losing
don't.
their jobs.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you do.
But you don't really necessarily hear about like people in our situation. So we're gonna share our process because we have also become the victim in a different way. And we are. Let me just pause. We are very grateful that we have our health. That everybody in my family has not been affected by Corona or Rick's family, and so we are very grateful for that. And we do not take that lightly, but we have become kind of like a victim from the coronavirus in a different way. We honestly thought that at the end of this process, we'd be like, kind of like, hey, in front of our sold sign, like, hey, we're excited. But that was not in God's will, and so we are now sharing our other side. So we were, in March, we were anticipating getting our clear to close. So if you guys have not bought a house, you know, before you guys can sign at the dotted line, you guys have to go through some approvals. And so we were awaiting getting our clear to close because we had provided everything we needed. And then we are thinking we're about to get the phone call for clear to close, and we get another phone call from our lender. Across the US, 99% of lenders that are doing our loan type are no longer doing them anymore.
Investors are like, nope, we aren't doing it. We aren't invested in these types of loans anymore because we're uncertain about the market just based on the worldwide pandemic of the coronavirus. So instead of doing these, we're going to just completely pull out. That's it. We aren't doing them anymore.
Yes. So, and it's not just us. You know, our lender broke the news to us and was said that she had a client that was on their way to the closing table, which can't even imagine, like you're driving to closing. And
hey, I'm about to go close on my crib. I'll call you in an hour.
Yes, and then you find out that your loan is not going to be funded. Devastating. So like my heart goes out to everybody. If this is touching you, like if this same thing or something similar like this is happening, my heart just goes out to you guys right now because this is out of your control. Don't beat yourself up about it. This is not anything that you can control. This is just the effects of a market kind of crashing. And so, you know, when we got that phone call that since I'm self-employed, I have self-employed income, you know, we were factoring that in. And so that's what made us do this different, this other program. that will allow us to factor all of my blog income, because we're grateful that my blog has flourished. So we got the phone call that basically we no longer are in that loan program because it does not exist. We did fact check that. We started seeing articles about it. We also called some other lenders, and indeed that is not offered anywhere at this time due to coronavirus.
Because at first we was like, nah, BS.
Yeah, we were like, all right.
I'll take my business elsewhere.
Yeah, we fact checked it, and we actually started a process with this other guy, and he said that their company was still doing.
Like, oh no, Mr. Newton, you're still good. No, absolutely, get you approved yet? Not a problem. We're good to go.
We get a phone call from him the next day that no, our program that we offered that was similar to that one also ceased, and so it's just ceased across the U.S. Nobody is doing. No investors are doing that. So, and you know, it's a little bit tricky with our size of our home because we don't fit into always like necessarily the normal FHA. We definitely don't fit into an FHA. We're not in a VA loan because we're not, you know, vets. And so our only options at this point was to end it and lose our house, or
get it down to conventional.
Bring more money to the table, which we were already bringing a lot of money to the table because we were avoiding private mortgage insurance. So we were already bringing a lot of money to the table, but now our goal was to make it even higher in the course of a week, bring even more money to the table to be able to fit our loan within conventional loan limits that are backed by Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. It was huge, it was stressful, but we were able to come through and bring that money to the table. And at that point that we were able to do it, we called up our lender. This is a smaller lender. It was a referral that we found out about her, and we were like, we can do it. Let's start the process back. She kind of put everything on pause.
Mm-hmm. She's like, can you get this crazy amount of cash?
We asked her, we were like, so if we bring more money.
Because she was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, so
like,
we just
sorry.
need money to fix this, right?
Yeah, she was like, I'm sorry, you know, you may want to get a different house, you know, that, you know, like all this stuff. And we were like, so you're just telling us that we have to bring more money to the table. I brought that to her, and she was like, yeah, if you can bring more money to the table, you can fit it within a conventional loan limit.
So like, you're saying there's a chance here.
Yeah. So we were like, we're not going to lose our house. Like, this is what we've invested in. So brought more money to the table. And at that point, we were moving and grooving. She just had to restructure our loan, like on the back end. And in this process, we did have to talk to our builder. Well, we didn't talk to them. Our realtor and our lender had to just like update them because they were anticipating us to close.
Hey, this is what's going on. Corona affecting everything. You know the stuff you've been hearing in the news? Okay, yep, this is that.
Yeah, so our lender had to tell them like, hey, it's not the buyer, us. It's programs are ceasing across the U.S. And so just basically give them some grace. They are qualified, but we just got to get them to the finish line.
Yep. So, okay, cool. Did all that. Awaiting clear to close again. It's a smaller shop, right? Mom and pop. Like, well, not mom and pop, but just a smaller scale. It's not your super duper large
like
ones.
Loans, if you guys are familiar. It wasn't
so
a bigger
they called again and was like, actually,
this is a week later.
Our investors, like a week later. So we go through all this, get all the cash, like, all right, bet. Waiting for them to say, all right, final check through, you're good. Go sign, get your keys.
Mind you, side note, what he's not saying, all of our money is sitting at the title company waiting for us to close.
All of my money.
All of it. So all of the down payment was at the title company. So the only thing was just waiting is them to finish the conditions and just give us the clear and our loan be funded.
Get a call, our investors are changing the guidelines that you're approved under now, but even though you're already in process, it's changed and you have to go somewhere else.
We also had to, at that point that we were doing a self-employed, like counting my self-employed, we had to just only count our W-2s, like our corporate income, which we're grateful for that. This is why you never want to just like get something like above your means, because we were able to like exclude my blog income and us still qualify for a conventional mortgage, because you have to think about debt to income. We were able to qualify with our corporate and leaving my blog income completely out. So if you're in a similar situation, there's also that layer as well. But so at that point that we got the second call, remember, if we flash back, that we had started this process with this larger company when we called, like, hey, are you guys still doing it? So we had started but not started a process. Like, he had all of our information, and so we called him up. It's like a pretty large company, like pretty large, like comparable to like Quicken
I
Loans.
think it's like number 2.
Yeah. And we were like, can you get this done quickly? Because our builder needs us to close. We have to get this done ASAP. And so at that point, he's like, absolutely, put in our information, got us approved in his system, because that was like first thing you have to do. They have to approve you in your system, and then they push you over to underwriting. So we were just grateful.
Because the good part about this, title work's already done, appraisal's already been done, our money's sitting at title, like essentially, it's done.
Yeah. We just needed somebody to underwrite us again, that their limits, because every lender is going to have different requirements now, and they can change their requirements. So
Like that.
you know, jumbo loans are changing, they're ceasing, even conventional loans are changing, FHA loans are changing, and it's just at the discretion of, I think, each lender.
Yeah,
and
so
who they
every single
institute.
lender, they have their own, you got the program guidelines, and then each lender will have their overlay that they put on top of it. So like, these are their rules, and then these are ours to coincide with.
Exactly. And so anyway, we got moving and grooving with him. We were like, hey, he was like, I'll put this on a rush, get you guys going, and we can get you guys closed within like 8 to 10 days. Cool. Now, this is another conversation that needs to happen with our builder, because this was last week. So we need to just like loop them in again. And of course, now tell them that we're switching a lender on top of that.
Yeah, so they were thrilled.
They naturally are like, all right, kind of scared, like, you know, what's happening.
And what our response was, it's not us. My money's good, my credit's good, my income is there. It's simply based on COVID-19. People are, and rightly so, I mean, the market is fluctuating right now. So people are like, hey, how do we need to change? How do we need to adjust to coincide with what's happening in the market? Well, unfortunately, we're buying a house during this time, and every single time they make a change, because they're seeing the results on their investment, it's affecting our loan that's in process.
Yeah. And so I think even 2 months from now, this would have been different, you know.
2 months beforehand? Or 2 months
Beforehand.
later? I mean,
yeah, because I feel like we came right as, you know, the shutdown came into play of like everybody in their house.
Right.
You know, like,
imagine y'all going through this, trying to take care of stuff, and they're like, yeah, self-quarantine, stay in the crib. You can't even go send, like,
it's been basically, I can't even fathom. And then we also are under the stress of having to figure this out, and then we also have to start homeschooling our kids, and
you can't even get a break from the kids. You can't even think straight.
Yes. We're in an Airbnb at this time, like
multiple Airbnbs.
You know, because we would have just been in a lease. I get this asked quite a bit. We would have just been in a house or anything if we would have known that this was happening. We would have never known that coronavirus would affect us like this. So it was not our goal to be in an Airbnb for over a month. We were expecting to be like in an Airbnb for like a week.
Like a week.
But the problem is then we couldn't even be in one Airbnb, because we would be like, all right, we're going to be closing at the end of that week, but it didn't happen. Well, when we found out we wouldn't close, then I would go to extend the Airbnb, and that Airbnb was full. So then I had to, we had to move.
The truck in, move to Beverly.
So that's why we had to keep switching Airbnbs. But if I would have known, I would just had us at least book an Airbnb, the same one out for the whole month.
Exactly.
So we just have been, honestly, I felt like we were kind of under attack just as everything is coming out. You know, I think 2 months before, even 2 months later from now, I think it would have been a different story. So anyway, our realtor had to talk to our builder and our lender just to like kind of restore faith in us, and just like, it's not them, it's the market.
It's not me. It's you.
So we had to do that. And the guy we talked to with our builder that we've been working with, he was just like, I'm confident I can get your home approved, because at this point, if you guys don't know, once you build a house, once they set your closing date, like, you kind of need to close by that point. And so if you don't, then they're looking at you like, hey, we're not going to be moving forward. Like, well, we can put your house on the market, essentially. So thankfully, we've been in communication with them, so that hasn't been the case. But now hitting this new thing, they were like, all right, I'm pretty sure we can get this approved to, you know, extend your house for 7 more days while you guys finish this. And when we went to this new lender, it was a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. We were like, why didn't we switch to him earlier? Because it was just like, being in this big
Clear,
business,
concise communication.
there was an app that showed us right where the process of it was. So if you guys are on the fence, like, I just advise you really shop your lenders, because he has been great and really told us every day where we were at. And it was clear and it was factual. So
what I would say is, like, when everything's great in the economy, you might be able to get away with not using the big box. But in this unstable market environment, you might want the name you know.
And that, like, for instance, if the market's going down, the mom and pop shops are going to be closing their business first.
Right.
Target's going to be like the last one to change, basically, to close down.
This always comes back to shopping, huh? This just always comes back.
So basically, that's kind of what it was. And so we came to him and he was like getting it going. Long story short, we got word back from our builder that the VP would not approve our extension. So
choice words, insert here.
So basically, at that point, we were very disappointed, but we were comforted in the fact that our realtor is like, I haven't really been showing homes. I've been at home vacuuming. Everybody's supposed to be at home. So who's really going to look for houses?
Right.
Our lender was like, looking at his pipeline of all the houses that he has. He was like, I'm not doing loans for a house your size. So I'm doing smaller ones, but not of your size. So you're good. We'll just knock this out. You guys can close next week. And so we're like, okay. We talked to the construction manager at the company. He's like, yeah, I'll see you guys in 10 days, no problem. I doubt anything's gonna happen. So then this was last weekend. So also we looked at on their website that they really actually didn't technically list it. Like, it wasn't even pictures of the actual house, it wasn't the price on there, nothing. So we were like, we're good. Past Monday morning, we lock in our loan rate, which was a great rate. We were super excited about that. And then a few hours later, we get a phone call from our realtor that they sold our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as you can imagine,
Devastating.
It was a moment. It was like, OMG. All right, so
At this point, we're in an Airbnb.
7 months pregnant, kids at home.
Anticipating to close, because now at this point, we had a lender that we know was getting to the finish line.
And he's like, yo,
we were like
should
5
be
days
done. We
away.
just locked in. And he was like, not even 5. It's like 2 or 3 days.
We were planning on, we got the phone call on Monday. We were anticipating closing on the Friday.
Yeah. That's crazy. That was crazy.
Devastating. And there was nothing that we can do, because we were really kind of, to be transparent, we were really kind of upset that the builder didn't even say to us, like, hey, we have an interested buyer. You guys have 24 hours, like anything. It was just like, hey, somebody went under contract for your home.
For the home that we planned, video,
they know that we're pregnant.
Photographed, living out of, like, yo, this is it.
We sold
are
our
at the
other
finish
house.
line. I sold my crib. You already know how I felt about that. And here we go. So the good news is, all right, so that's what happened.
Well, let me pause. We were devastated.
Mm-hmm.
We got the news, and our realtor was like, hey, there's another house on the same block of yours, because let me also just say that we specifically want to live in this neighborhood because we love the neighborhood. So she gave us the option, like, hey, they'll offer the house to you for like $20,000 less. And we were like,
Thank you.
we were like, okay, we'll look at it. However, Rick and I, you guys know how much we visited that house. So we already saw that house on the market, right?
Yeah, it's been on the market for 6-7 months.
Never sold. And we always drove by, and we've actually been in it because it's a similar floor plan to ours.
It's like the ugly cousin that's not quite as cute as the other cousin is that one.
So it doesn't, so we were like, all right, our family needs a home. We went and looked at it. Just as we anticipated. Structurally, like, we can change design stuff. Like, we were gonna paint the exterior because we didn't like the exterior.
Yeah.
But there was
some stuff you can't change.
There were so many structural things that were different, and I could see if it was a completely different floor plan.
It's the cousin.
But it's so similar that I'd be living in that house thinking about the house that we lost. And so I just felt like we wouldn't have a fresh start. And then the fact is, I could see if they were giving us just this amazing rock'em sock'em deal, but it was like only $20,000 less. And to be honest, like, That would have been the easy option to go, and it would have really fulfilled our short-term plan. Because honestly, in thinking like vlog-wise, like you guys probably wouldn't have known the major differences because the house did look kind of similar in some. But I'm like, I gotta keep it real. Like, no, we can't make an emotional decision. That's not the house for us. And to be honest, like we really didn't want to give business to the builder anymore after that scenario. So, but we still had it in our back pocket. So that was one option. Another option that we considered was buying a smaller home in the community and it becoming just like an investment property. But we got some
counsel on that.
Yeah, and we found out like with our life, us working,
and at that price point,
we really wouldn't get a return.
Like, here's your rent. It's $5.
You know, so we just realized that that wasn't a feasible option either, because we were going to live in that investment property and then eventually build a new house and then have the investment property in that house, and it just didn't realize that we wouldn't get our return. And everybody we talk to, it's like a lot of work. My brother-in-law does this a lot, and it's work, and so we don't have time for that. So that was second option number 2. Third option was to
live under a bridge.
To start this process all over again.
Yeah, buddy.
Which is crazy to think, because if you've built a home, you know that you get very emotionally invested. He doesn't. I do. Women.
Some people do.
And that's funny that you said that, because it is so real. Like, in the midst of, I'm saying that we are the victims of coronavirus in a different way, but it is very true. Like, at the end of the day, this is a material item that we cannot take with us.
It's sticks and bricks.
And
I can still breathe. We still got a healthy baby coming in 2 months. I'm trying to get some time.
Healthy, you know, where Michigan is getting hit so hard. Rick's parents are great. We have so many things that are just not tangible that we are so grateful for, that I want to just keep in perspective that
sticks and bricks.
Yes, this came to us, and it came out of our hands, out of our control. And that's another thing that's kind of hard to deal with this, is because it was out of our control.
It wasn't me. If it was me, they're like, sir, you don't make enough money at your job.
That would be something.
Hey, your credit just isn't quite up to par.
Then we would own that.
I was like, okay. I gave it a shot, but it's not even me.
Because of a pandemic,
you know,
that's what's a hard pill to swallow, and only being 5 days away from closing. That's what's also hard.
And selling your house.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are really hard with this, but we do want to just take in perspective that we know that this is just a house, and we were building our dream house, but we still have each other. And honestly, this has brought us closer together in this process.
That sounds so cheesy.
It does.
I got you, babe.
It did. I mean, if we can, this was probably one of our hardest parts in our whole relationship, and it could have been a thing that we could have been at war with each other. That's true. But we truly were not.
It was good.
And no, of course, there's not always like, hey, I want to like
cheese.
Yeah, but
it was just like,
we're team.
Right,
like,
let's get
this.
Yeah.
So,
Jinx.
Anyway, for my like OGs of my Instagram page.
Did you just try to really use OGs? My OGs of the.
Before we actually got under contract for the house that we built, we had another builder,
which will now be referenced as the stolen home.
No. Before that, we were. Before that, we were actually getting like almost about to sign and get under contract for another builder. And it was actually like we hadn't even considered this builder that we actually built with. We were going to go with someone else.
This is what happened when you go cheaper.
So it was the original builder, and you guys can actually see videos of the other builder on our YouTube channel if you guys go back and look. And I was actually asking your advice for it, but we were going to go with them, but we did not go with them for 2 different reasons. One, they were a little bit more. But rightfully so, the interiors do not touch the interiors of the builder we went with. It's just, it is what it is. I love the house that we built, but the interior of this first builder is much better than the one we went with, in my opinion. And then also at that stage, we were very particular about the lot we were choosing. And
that lot was dope. It was dope.
And the lot we went with our builder, it was
on the
amazing.
stolen home lot. You got to reference out. The stolen home lot was legit. It was right off the green belt with the trees and the walking path.
That's one thing that
I got allergies, so maybe that's for the best.
That is
I don't want to be by
honestly
trees.
I would say at this stage of where we're at right now, that is our biggest belt of loss outside of money, but outside of loss of money, but like just that we had such a beautiful lot, and
it was dope.
It was really nice, but
I hope it floods.
Oh my God! No, you do not. So basically, what happened at this point was originally at that stage, the original builder did not have a lot that we liked. It was like one on a hill, and we did not want our house to be on the hill. And we were like, we cannot do that.
Yeah, that lot would have been bad.
We still drive by it,
and we're like, no matter through all of this, I'm glad I didn't get that house.
No.
Can you imagine Cyrus' little butt trying to run outside on an incline like this down the driveway?
It's like the driveway was like this.
Yeah.
So that's why we did not. It was more expensive, and it was just not an ideal lot. So that's why we did not go with him, and then we went with this builder that we
the stolen home builder.
So
I'm a hashtag.
It's funny how things come full circle, because here we are now, where we are back to the same sales rep, and now she has a new phase where it's more lots.
Yep, we can get what we want.
We can get what we want, and we can get the original house that we wanted. I actually shared this house on my Instagram stories. Like, I took you guys through it because we were gonna go with this house.
You talking about now you did?
No,
back
then.
year.
And here we are about to start the process. We just got under contract. Congratulations. We're about to do this again. We're about to do this with you guys again, and
it's gonna be all my design this time.
What I will say, the pros and cons of this is that yes, we have to wait 6 to 8 months, but I'm glad no part of us wishes that we would have bought the other house that was ready right now.
The ugly cousin house?
Yeah.
No, I don't want the ugly cousin house.
So it's not fun that we have to be not in a house. We have to start this process all over again, but long term, it was a better term decision for our family.
Yeah. You can't buy ugly houses just to have a house, because we rented a house now. So
so then also in this process this week, we got the keys. We are renting a house until our house is finished.
So we'll be moving in there. I've been doing that.
Yeah, we got movers.
Finished filming this. Got movers, moved in there. Got the baby coming in 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks. Jesus, no.
Please no.
2 months. Homeschooling in this Corona environment.
But what we're so excited about, like, also what we realized that we were just under so much stress. Part of it, once we found out that we leased this house,
it was like,
we could get our own things. Like, we've been living out of a suitcase. We just felt so relieved to have, like, all of our stuff is at the rental house, and it's just waiting for us to unpack. And it's like get back to like normalized
so we
life.
Can film again, we can video again, life will normalize, because I'm sorry, this past month I have not felt creative at all. Post a video about what? Like, no.
It was honestly at the point where all we could do is just be the best parents that we could be at that point. And when we were not dealing with like putting out fires, we gave it to our kids.
Yeah.
You know, we were just with our kids, and so
they pick up.
That's why we and try to keep it as normal for our children as possible, and that's why we just haven't really been on. But we have moved. Our movers came this past weekend, and so we're gonna start staying there on Monday. Like, we wanted this to be normal for our children, so we like got they're getting all their rooms together, and so they walk in and it's like pretty much all together. And so where we're at now, the next steps is that what I want to also share this to you guys really quick is that, like, we were devastated, we were knocked down, and we don't ever question God's will for us and God's plan for us, even when it's not in our favor, that we think it's in our favor, even when it's not really the plan that we actually think for our life. I say this quite a bit with our life, just how it's panned out, is that what you think is your plan. I thought that I would be bringing my baby home into this new house and everything, but that was not his will. And so and
you never know what he's saving you from. It could flood. He could be saving us from being there in the middle of the flood.
You know, so we are trusting that, we're staying faithful with that. So our faith has not wavered through this, and we just know that this has happened on purpose and by design. And maybe it was that we needed to be in this house all along, our original house all along, you know?
And like I told people, hey, it's gonna work out how it's supposed to. And this is how it panned out. For what reason? I don't know.
We don't know.
Why the good Lord wanted me to lose so much money on the stolen home, but lessons learned. You know what I mean? We shall see.
And so at this point, if you guys are in a situation where you guys have lost a job or through coronavirus or anything that you guys are going through is a trying time, just know that you guys can come to the other side of this, you know. And I also had to really tell Rick, like, how grateful are we? What?
I want to know what you told me.
How grateful are we that our number 2
is done.
Backup is to build a nicer house.
And we're having a pool this time.
Yes, a nicer house than what we had the last time. Like, that alone just shows like how truly amazing God is, that like
your backup can be better than your original. The plans he has for you is better than the plans you have for yourself. Message.
And so I also just want to say that, like, I'm not really an emotional person.
Oh my.
I do get kind of emotional about this, because when I tell you guys that this is happening, this is not just affecting us. There's many people that their loans have fallen through, and for one reason or another due to coronavirus. And my heart just goes, it crushes for the people that don't have the resources, because partly why we can do this and switch to different builders, because we have the resources to do so.
Like, what if you put your last into that?
You know, and so my heart just breaks for the people that don't have a plan B for this loan fallout with everything with coronavirus. And so I am grateful that we have been able to build the life we have, to be able to have choices, even though it's not what we want. We want to be in our house. I want to make that clear, but
I want to be able to.
But to be able to say that our backup plan is to build truly a more beautiful house than what we started with, and this house is a blessing in itself.
Yeah, true.
And so I just want you guys to know that if you guys are in a trying time right now, like, know that we were hit to the ground on Monday, and we took time to mourn. You know, you kind of have to mourn that process. Yeah, and we then at that point had to put a game plan together, and you know, we will always prevail. So just know that you can get out of a situation. You don't know how you will, but you will. And even when the worst thing happens, better things are always to come. So to say better things are to come, what are the next steps now? The next steps are, first, we are, like I said, moving into our rental house. Mm-hmm. We're going to get back to business as usual around here.
Which means what? Vlogging and blogging.
Yes.
Vlogging and blogging.
And sharing you guys. And I know I appreciate you guys so much. So many of you guys have sent me so many messages, like checking in on me. And I'm just so grateful for you guys in this whole entire process, that I can make an impact for you guys, where you even are like, hey, where's Taryn? What's going on with her? I'm worried about her. So I appreciate you guys so much, because it has been a crazy month. But we're going to get back to we're putting this in the past. We're moving forward. We're taking steps forward. And also, we are about to build a house with you guys again. So if you guys are tired of it, of the last time, sorry.
I ain't got no choice.
We're, you know, that's what we said. Like, you know, we're not going to not show you guys, because we already did it again. We're going to share our life very transparently with you. And so if that means doing it again, then we're doing it again. And we're going to learn from some of this. I already know design-wise, there are some things that we wish that we would have done that we're fixing. And so we can't wait to take you guys on this journey again. And we just can't wait to get back to our life being normal. Like, even though it did not end the way we wanted, like, we just felt like such a weight has been lifted from us now. Like, we are closing this chapter and starting anew, and restoring our life and just getting back to normal. So we signed our contract, and we're building a block over, and we love the house and excited to go forward.
It's going to be an amazing time. Have you heard a story like this before? No, it's always new. It's always original here. So if you have, comment down below. But thank you for coming with us. Don't forget to like, comment down below, and click subscribe.
We appreciate